Have you ever looked into the eyes of the person you love more than life itself, planning your wedding, your future, your entire existence around them, only to realize that every single word they ever said to you was a beautifully crafted lie? My name is Sarah. I am 27 years old, originally from the beautiful island of Cebu. For 5 years, I thought I was the luckiest girl in the Philippines. I had Mark. Mark was handsome, hardworking, and incredibly family-oriented. Or at least, that's what I told myself every night when I went to sleep. Today, I am sitting in a cheap coffee shop in Taguig, staring at my phone, realizing that the man I was supposed to marry next month has a whole different life, a whole different apartment, and a whole different family just a few kilometers away from where I am sitting right now. Grab your coffee, because this is the story of how my 5-year relationship came crashing down in Bonifacio Global City, all because of a secret cousin who turned out to be something I never, in my worst nightmares, could have imagined.
Let's go back to the beginning. Mark and I met during our college days in Cebu. He was studying IT and I was pursuing business. We were that couple everyone thought would make it. We survived the late-night study sessions, the struggles of finding our first jobs, and the endless traffic of Mandawi City. He used to call me Punga, a Cebuano word for beloved. Every time he said it, my heart melted. He was always so responsible.
When his younger sister needed tuition money, he worked overtime. When my mother fell ill, he was the first one at the hospital, holding my hand and telling me everything would be fine. 2 years ago, Mark landed a high-paying job at a multinational tech firm. There was only one catch. Their main office was in Manila. This meant he had to travel frequently. At first, it was just once a month. But as he got promoted, it became every single week. He would leave Cebu on Monday morning and return on Friday evening. I missed him terribly, but I never doubted him. He was building our future. We were saving up to buy our own house in Consolacion. We even opened a joint bank account where we both deposited a portion of our salaries every month. Everything was perfect. We had the budget, we had the date, we had the dream. But then, the cousin entered our lives.
Around 8 months ago, Mark came back from Manila looking extremely tired. During dinner, he looked at me and said, "Punga, I need to discuss something with you." He told me that his uncle's daughter, his cousin named Jane, had just graduated from college and got a job in Taguig. He said Jane was struggling to find a safe place to live in Manila. If you've ever lived in Manila, you know how expensive and unsafe renting can be for a young woman alone. Mark proposed that since he was making good money, he wanted to rent a small, safe condominium in BGC for her. I was a bit hesitant. BGC is one of the most expensive areas in the country. Renting even a studio unit there would easily cost 25 to 30,000 pesos a month. That was money that could go into our wedding fund. But Mark was so passionate about it. He said, "She's family, Sarah. If we don't help her, who will? Besides, since I travel to Manila every week, I can stay there too, instead of paying for hotels. It actually saves us money in the long run." It made sense. It sounded logical. I felt so proud of him for being such a supportive big brother figure. I told him to go ahead. I even offered to help him choose some basic furniture online to send to the condo. But Mark insisted, No, don't worry. I'll handle everything. You just focus on your work and the wedding planning."
Looking back, the red flags were screaming at me. But love makes you deaf and blind. The first warning sign was the phone calls. Whenever Mark was in Manila, staying at the Condo with his cousin, he would never FaceTime me. He always had an excuse. "The Wi-Fi here is terrible," or "Jane is studying in the living room. I don't want to disturb her." Sometimes, when I called him late at night, I would hear a very faint sound of a baby crying in the background. When I asked him about it, he laughed it off and said, "Oh, the walls in these BGC condos are so thin. It must be the neighbors next door." The second red flag was his social media.
Mark suddenly stopped tagging me in his posts. He archived our old photos on Instagram, claiming he wanted his profile to look more professional for his new corporate clients. But the biggest red flag happened 3 weeks ago. I was cleaning our room in Cebu while he was away. In his desk drawer, I found a receipt from a high-end baby boutique in SM Aura. It was for baby clothes, diapers, and a luxury stroller, totaling over 40,000 pesos. My heart stopped. Why would Mark buy baby stuff? I called him immediately.
He sounded nervous for a second, but then quickly recovered. He said, "Oh, that. My boss at work just had a baby boy, and the team pooled money to buy a gift. I used my card to get the points." It was a perfect explanation. But deep down, my female intuition was screaming. Something was terribly wrong. I couldn't sleep for days. The doubt was eating me alive from the inside out. I kept thinking about the baby toys, the hidden Instagram photos, and the late-night muted phone calls. I knew I had to see it for myself. Last Tuesday, I told Mark I was going to a weekend spa with my girls in Cebu, but instead, I booked a one-way flight from Cebu to Manila. I didn't pack much, just a small bag and a heart full of anxiety. When I landed at Naya Airport, my hands were shaking. I took a grab directly to Bonifacio Global City. I had the address of the condo because I had seen it on one of his delivery receipts months ago. It was a rainy Thursday afternoon. The sky was gray, matching exactly how I felt inside. I entered the lobby of the beautiful high-rise building. The security guard stopped me, asking for my unit number. I gave him Mark's name. The guard smiled and said, "Ah, Sir Mark from Unit 14B. Yes, he is upstairs. You can go up." My legs felt like lead as I rode the elevator up to the 14th floor. Every floor the elevator passed felt like a step closer to my execution. Ding! The doors opened. I walked down the long, quiet hallway until I stood in front of Unit 14B. I stood there for a whole minute, just breathing. I knocked on the door. No answer. I knocked again, harder this time. Then I heard footsteps. The lock turned. The door swung open. I expected to see Mark, or maybe a young college girl who looked like his cousin Jane. Instead, standing in front of me was a beautiful woman in her late 20s. She was wearing a comfortable house dress, and resting on her shoulder was a beautiful baby boy, no older than 6 months. The baby had Mark's exact eyes.
She looked at me confused but polite. "Yes, can I help you?" she asked. My voice was barely a whisper. Is Mark here? I am looking for his cousin, Jane." The woman's expression changed from confusion to absolute confusion. She let out a small, nervous laugh. "I think you have the wrong unit. There is no Jane here. I am Jane." My brain stopped working. "You are Jane? Mark's cousin?" She stared at me, her smile fading. "Cousin? What are you talking about? Mark is my husband, and this is our son, AJ. Who are you?" In that exact second, the world around me completely dissolved. I felt the cold air of the air conditioner hitting my face, but my body was burning. Just then, I heard a voice from inside the apartment, a voice I knew better than my own. "Hun, who was at the door? Is the food delivery here?" It was Mark. He walked into the hallway, holding a baby bottle. He stopped dead in his tracks. The bottle fell from his hand, splashing warm milk all over the expensive wooden floor.
He didn't say a word. He just stood there, looking at me, then at his wife, then back at me. His face turned pale as a ghost. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I didn't cause a scene in that beautiful BGC hallway. I just looked at him, took off the 5-year-old promise ring from my finger,
dropped it into the spilled milk on the floor, turned around, and walked away. He tried to run after me, but his wife caught his arm, demanding to know what was going on. Now, I am sitting in this coffee shop. Mark has sent me over 50 text messages, calling me bunga and begging me to meet him alone so he can explain. He says they got married because of an unplanned pregnancy, and he was too scared to tell me because he didn't want to lose me. He says he still loves me and wants our wedding to happen. Can you believe the audacity of this man? I am sharing this on Reddit because my mind is completely numb. To all the girls out there, if your man has a secret cousin he's spending thousands of pesos on, please go knock on that door. What should I do now? Should I expose him to his wife's family? Should I take all the money from our joint account and leave the country? Let me know in the comments below. And please, share this video. No woman deserves to be a